Patrick Ferry, we're excited to have you in the Landvoice podcast. First episode ever. I can't think of a better guy to have on our first podcast than Patrick. Guys, I want to tell you a little bit about him real quick. Most of you know Patrick, very well known in our industry and in the game we play of real estate. Patrick, 12 years with your dad, who I consider the godfather of real estate in so many ways. I know you've been coaching for a long time with your brother Tom. I know Matthew does a lot still in the real estate space and in the consulting space. And, the really cool thing, I know when you and I first crossed paths, you were doing a lot with your dad to help people prospect and to get into the weeds of learning really how to do that. And I'm super excited today to talk a little bit about the framework, right, of lead conversion and what we can do to be better when we're reaching out to a FSBO, an expired, a pre-foreclosure. But the thing I love about Patrick, without embarrassing you, Patrick, you've been on the coaching side, but you've also been on the selling side. I know you and your wife have crushed it down in Southern California. 54 homes, 1.3 million in GCI. You've talked the talk, right? And you've walked it as well. You know exactly what's going on in both lead conversion as well as just making a business run when it comes to the real estate world. So thrilled and excited to have you today. We do want to get into a lot of, again, the framework of lead conversion. There's a lot of other topics we can talk to you about as well. I know you're doing a lot in SEO, PPC, video, a lot of really exciting things in that game. We'll get to that another time. Guys, we're going to keep this podcast, each of these episodes, really short. It's 30 minutes or less. So Patrick, you and I have got less than 1,800 seconds to knock it all out. But let's do it today. Let's have some fun when we're talking about lead conversion, right?
Sounds great. Yeah. So when I am working with a coaching client or a friend on any lead type, so pick your poison. I know with Landvoice, it's an emphasis on if expired or a canceled or a for sale by owner or a pre-foreclosure or a neighborhood search or any one of those lead types that are available out there. What I learned was most of the training in the industry starts with scripting. Here's scripting. Here's what to say. And then what over the years, I developed exact perfect scripts. This was a script that you could use and it produced extraordinary results, not in theory, but like I saw it in real world right in front of me happen over and over and over again. Then I'd take that exact perfect script and hand it to another agent and it would fail. So as a coach, I was trying to figure out, okay, well, what was a better way for me? Because I could cram the script down your guys' throat, but a small percentage would make it work, and then the rest would fail miserably. So over time, I learned that if I could get the agent to understand the mindset, not only of themselves about prospecting this lead source, but also the mindset about the actual lead source, that actually unlocked everything. And what was the funny thing is I got really good at that. Then all of a sudden the scripting just was natural. Let me give you a simple example. So I would talk to an agent, hey, we need to call these expireds. These are some people. Here's the phone numbers from Landvoice and, let's get after it. And in their mind, things would happen like, well, they don't want me to call. They're probably going to be mad at me. And so we would have these negative thoughts and limiting beliefs that we project onto the call. And then naturally, even if I gave you the perfect script intro, you would be like awkward and uncomfortable, and the whole thing would fail miserably. So first was just a quick assessment of what's going on in your head about the expired, the FSBO, the pre-foreclosure, about this stuff. Okay. And then could we go from disempowered limiting belief? Could we go to a little bit more of an empowered perspective? Right. So let's just shift it from negative to a little bit positive. Okay. Could we add some value regardless of the circumstances to the expired? Could you just at least feel comfortable that you checked in just to see if there's anything you can do to help? Could you maybe do a quick analysis of what happened with the listing, and maybe you could add some value to them even if they were going to relist with an agent and never do anything? Do you have anything to share with them that will just make you feel good that you reached out cold, and that even if they were upset that you called, that you could potentially add some value to them? That's it. Just a little shift, Sean, in that mindset, all of a sudden, people just, it almost didn't matter what they said from that point forward. They'd introduce themselves with more confidence, more swagger, a little bit more relaxed versus so tense and so awkward and so weird. And next thing you know, the conversation would go well. So step one, let's just get your head on straight with that lead source.
I
Then,
like
of
that.
course, can we
Yeah.
understand them a little bit better? Right? We take the for sale by owner. So, I kind of broke this down like, look, I realized there were some for sale by owners, they're attorneys, they're accountants, their great grandfather sold their house by themselves, their mom did, everybody in their entire family sold their house by themselves. I'm sorry, guess what? We ain't converting that person. But then there's another group of people that maybe maybe they saw on Zillow that there was an opportunity for them. Maybe they, just bought the home recently and they got a job transfer and, there's not a huge margin there. Maybe they feel very confident. They have a sales background or they have a marketing background. Maybe they just are like, hey, I should give this a shot. This would be stupid for me not to. And there's some good resources, right? Maybe that's
Yeah,
convertible.
absolutely. Yep.
Then there's the people that, which, I converted here in San Diego, where they were like, I remember one of my great for sale by owner guys was like, look, I didn't know any other agents. I went on Zillow. I posted it, as Make Me Move. I talked to 3 agents. I pulled the best ones in and I interviewed you guys and I hired you. See, that was his mindset. And then, I always jokingly say, there's also some people that just literally are like, we don't know an agent. We just were on Zillow. We had a little bit too much wine last night and we pushed the button, right? So
Just randomly list my home for sale.
they just did it. They pushed the button and they were like, well, we were gonna do it anyways. And if someone came by and made us an offer, hey, maybe it would work. But we're totally open to it. See, what happened is I gave people a little bit of context to the different variables and
Yeah.
which ones that they actually would want to work with. And now let's just go do prospecting and find the ones that you would want to work with. The funny thing is, if I could just get the mindset screwed on, for some reason, everything after that just worked, right? You get what I'm saying?
No, this is good because, even a week ago, I was doing a training with a bunch of agents and we were talking about different personality types and how to kind of
Yes.
stay within rapport. And those things are important. But if what you're talking about, Patrick, is just setting the table mentally, right? Like just being ready to have a conversation coming from contribution and having a conversation around, people that want to talk to you, that you want to talk to them. And there's those people out there. It's just a matter of making those contacts, right?
Yes. And it's very different than just being positive, right? Like I'm not talking about being positive and I'm not talking about affirmations, like I'm alive, excited and full of energy and I'm going to be, I'm a listing machine. Like that's cool. Like good for
Yeah.
you. But I'm
Yeah.
just talking about really like, let's get your head in the right spot and then let's understand them better. And then I would say just to add the final thing and then we'll move is what would they value? If you brought one thing to the conversation that they would value, what is that? And if you start stacking, what are the things that they would value that you could contribute to them? Now, all of a sudden you go from, hey, I got to run the script to try and get an appointment to, hey, I'd like to add value to these people. And then the moment you shift there, a relaxed sense of confidence takes over. Next thing you know, you're just having really good conversations with people. And they can kind of tell that you're there to add value, not get another listing so you can pay your bills, right? Right. We always refer to as, commission breath. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So step one, let's get all of that taken care of. Step 2 in the framework, of course, is where everybody spends most of the time, which is scripting and skills, right? And I kind of broke this into 2 categories. One is communication techniques, rapport building, personality types, tonality, body language, inflection, all the stuff that we really should get better at as good communicators and as direct salespeople, right? That's over here. There's a whole set of things that we need to do there. Step 2 is some scripting, right? It's like, what are the best questions that we should be asking? How's that opener going to work? What's the best way to kind of get them into a conversation cold? There was different closes for the different list, so a close for a for sale by owner, actually really easy. A close for an expired, a little bit more tricky. A close for a pre-foreclosure, totally different. A close for a just listed, just sold, very different. So what I started to notice was when we really got into skills and scripts, we really needed to do a better job of what were the best openers, what were the best quality questions that were conversations, then what were the different types of close nuances that would make a big difference. I could book an appointment with any for sale by owner by simply saying one thing. Hey, let me come over, take a quick look at your home. I may have a buyer, right? If I had a buyer, you'd be open to working with me, right? Would you at least be willing to pay me if I did have a buyer? Pretty much 50% of the for sale by owners would just say yes to that. That's not an appointment that I want, but but I could book the appointment. With an expired, I really need to get over there really quickly if they're highly motivated. If I open them up into a conversation and they're a new expired, I need to get over there ASAP. With the FISBO, not that big of a deal. If it's a neighbor that I just met and I'm doing just listed, just sold, and they are hinting at selling their home sometime in the near future, if you are aggressive with your expired close, hey, I can come over. What's better for you, tonight at 4 or tomorrow at 5? If you do that to the just listed, just sold neighbor who's considering selling 6 months, they will actually push you away real fast, right? If I did that with the pre-foreclosure, if I could show you how to sell your house for top dollar in the next 36 seconds, right? Can I come over and show you what to do today at 1 and tomorrow at 2, right? The
Closing the door
pre-foreclosure is
faster
probably
than
going
you're
to
opening
push
it, right?
away. So I just noticed,
Yep.
again, between scripts and skills, there's some subtle nuances that everybody, based upon the lead type, you got to start learning those basics. And then your results will start to shoot through the roof.
So
Any other?
timing critical with the expired, Patrick, right? Got to get
What's
over
that?
there soon. Got to get over there quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to show how we're different, right, than the agent that just listed their home that didn't get it sold.
Yes. I'll give you the number one close for expireds. It's very simple. Sean, based on everything we talked about, you do have motivation. Motivation, I broke it into 2 categories. There's a time frame that you've revealed to me, and there's a reason why you want to do this, right? Those are the 2 things. That's actually motive to act, right? If they don't have a time frame or they didn't reveal it to you, and if they don't actually know what the plan is and they don't reveal it to you, you ain't done yet, right? We still got some work to do. Now, if they're an expired, it's still probably worth the effort. But with a for sale by owner, if there's no motive to act and there's no time frame, spaghetti-o, we still got more work to do. If they have a high motivation and a strong reason why, I'm getting over there, right? Now, simple close. Sean, how about this? What I would be willing to do is spend at least 2 hours on the research on what did the buyers in your property category, what did they buy? And why did they choose those other homes and not yours? Sean, real quick, did your last agent really show you that research? And we already know the answer. No.
Yeah, we saw some numbers, but not a lot, right? Yeah.
Okay. I can even throw in a quick question. Sean, when was the last time that your agent did a market update? Oh, it's 6 months ago. Oh, 6 months ago. No wonder, right? Basically, so now I added value to my 2 hours of research. Then I will create a custom marketing plan specifically for your property with the goal of being able to sell your home within 30 days or less for the highest possible price that this market will bear. Now, I'd be willing to do all of that if you'd be willing to spend 15 to 20 minutes just reviewing this information. Now, what's the answer to they're like, yes, everybody's a yes. Okay. Because I presented new information, new research, packaged in a way that they want it. And I basically made it simple for them to say yes. Now I can take it away, which is super fun. And you can say, Sean, once I get involved in the research, I promise you this. If I don't think that I could sell your home for the maximum value within 30 days or less, I promise you, I'll just cancel the appointment. Right? Because I don't want to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste mine either. Okay. Now, for those, it's step one of the mindset, understanding the prospect. That script came organic for me once I understood what value was to the expired. When I understood what they were experiencing, and then I also understood what agents were saying and the stupid stuff that they were saying. Can I come over at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock today and I'll show you how to get top dollar, we'll get it sold top dollar really fast. You know what I mean? It's like, stop, calm down, guys. Right.
But
So
what
anyway,
you just really said is all the work you're doing, which is that 2 hours of research for 15
yes.
or 20 minutes of their time. It's so organic. It's just so natural. And it makes sense to the consumer, to the buyer or the seller.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course. And I presented them with a question that they knew. They're like, wait, I didn't know that. Yeah, my agent hasn't done a market analysis on my home in 6 months. I don't know what the buyers did buy. What do you mean the buyers that bought homes and not mine, and why they bought those homes not mine? It's just reviewing the comps, everybody, right? That's all that is. Okay, anyways, let's go. So we've got scripts and skills as step number 2. Now let's get into some interesting stuff, which to me is where a good coach or a great expert in a category, they understand what the numbers are. Now, what do I mean by that? So for those of you Landvoice friends who are, if you're newer to Landvoice, this would be super helpful. If you're newer to prospecting, this would be super helpful. For my veterans who've been doing this for a long time, you know this to be true. I'm calling for sale by owners. Here's the numbers. I can make 2 calls, talk to 1 person. I can literally book an appointment with 1 out of 2 for sale by owners very easy. Those are it's very straightforward because remember, the for sale by owner advertise the phone number, advertise their number,
Publish
and
their
they
number.
pick up the phone. Okay. So calling FSBOs, you get a lot of conversations, but the conversion is a little slower. So if I use a script where, hey, if I had a hot buyer, why don't I come over, take a quick look at your home and see if I can help you out, which is not a listing appointment, right? I can do that and I can go on 5 FSBO appointments and still not convert a for sale by owner as a listing. Now I can get lucky and some people do, but you see the numbers, how that plays out. Now let's contrast that over to an expired. With an expired, I might have to call 20 numbers to have maybe 2 conversations. One of those conversations may not be the right person. So I might have to do 20 calls, talk to 2 people to get one of the right person on the line. That is super normal with expireds. So the first thing that with new expireds, so my veterans know this really well. Most people, they're like, "Hey, Patrick, I called expireds for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it didn't work. I don't like this. This is not true." And I'd say, "Tell me, how many calls did you make?" Great. How many people jacked up? Well, there's a bunch of wrong numbers. Yeah, I get that. That's normal. There was a bunch of people that hung up on. Yep, that makes perfect sense. Was it 1 or was it 5? No, it was 1. Okay, 1. Yep, that's about right. Cool. Now, how many conversations did you have? Well, I had maybe 2. Good. Now, did you talk to any homeowners? Well, I talked to 1 and they said that they were really busy and that I should call back later. And I'm like, that's exactly on track. That's perfect. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yes, because that's what it is with an expired, right? And so really it's about, 1 hour of calling to talk to 4 to 5 of the right person, because the expireds really are more resistant to the call, meaning they get calls and so they stop answering the phone or they're busy, where the FSBO is waiting for that call. Right? They want to pick up the phone. They're excited to talk to an agent. So there's just understanding that difference, right? Now let's go over to the just listed, just sold. Well, people, kind of claim that if I'm calling around a neighborhood, it's going to take 100 conversations to get an appointment. I completely disagree. Once I shifted the mindset and then adjusted the scripting to add value, the funny thing was with the just listed, just sold neighborhood calls, we were generating one high quality lead out of 12 conversations.
There's the
Interesting.
number. People should write that
So
down. Yep.
yeah. So I just want everybody to know that each one of these, so if I went to the pre-foreclosures, it would be its own set. So we just got to be aware, and we got to, once we understand it, now we can optimize step number 4, which is our schedule. Right. So we got to kind of craft the right schedule for, right? Like I got some research work to do. I got some script and skills to do. I got some, follow up to do. I got some, some downloading of some numbers and some tinkering with my CRM stuff. I got some time, certain amount of time on the dialers or making the calls to certain number of contacts. So we got to start to kind of really get some clarity around what's the real ideal schedule here. Right. And
Yeah,
be
I'm glad you brought
realistic.
this up, Patrick, because I think this is a really big piece that people miss is how to schedule this the right way.
Yeah. And then last thing I'll just say right here is it is is people need to they need to embrace the community of the software that they're working with. So simple example, here we are with Landvoice, right? Landvoice, we now have a new podcast. You guys are going to do a great job with Facebook groups and try and bring a big community together of prospectors. Prospecting alone is not a good idea. Prospecting in community, prospecting in a community of good education and good podcast and good training and and support mechanisms, and then learning the tool and the software and really being proactive with being great with the CRM, great with the software, great relationship with the company. I promise you guys that is what the successful people do, right? So mastering any lead source, we kind of got to walk through these things and make sure that you are fully on board for maximum success. And I promise you guys, you'll crush it if we just start to chip away at each one of these things, and your conversion will go through the roof. And then you'll have a lot more fun doing this stuff.
It's the framework, Patrick. I love it so much. No, you tease schedule. I got to go back for just 30 seconds with you because I know we're running out of time. But what have you found? I mean, you did prospecting schools with agents for years. Did you find that they had to call in the morning or in the evening, or was there a certain day, or how many days a week? Like, give us a quick nugget there before we let you go today.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk, let's keep it simple with the for sale by owner. With the for sale by owner, here's what I learned. The sooner I get the call done with the new for sale by owner, the warmer they were, the more open they were to have a conversation with me, and the easier it was to get an appointment. Meaning, if Landvoice, sends me a for sale by owner list today, I want that to be one of my very first phone calls, because they're going to pick up the phone and they haven't received a bunch of other phone calls, and that's very easy. Same thing with the expired. The expired, I want to be there early, and depending on the marketplace, you might have more competition versus less. If you have less competition, you can call a little bit later and get away with it. If you're in a high competition environment, now you really got to work hard to get that first, second, third agent to have that conversation. I want to be within the top 3, whether or not that's in the morning or whether or not that's in the afternoon, evening, or if that's like a Saturday morning. Because if you're in the top 3 people that talk to the expired, they're very easy to convert. But if you're the 10th and the 15th and 20th agent that they've talked to, they're very difficult to convert. So I just want to say, structure your schedule for putting yourself in the easiest position to win. That's number 1, right? And so the best prospectors on the planet, they adjust all of their schedules and their routines in their lives to make sure that they're just cherry picking the easy stuff off the top, while everybody else is starting to prospect at 11 o'clock in the afternoon with the new FSBOs and expireds. And they're like, oh, no one ever answered the phone, Sean. This stuff doesn't work. You're like, right. And then the other person over there has already taken the appointment and listing the next day, and everybody's wondering what to do about it. So we really need to optimize for maximum results and for the win. Be within the first three. That's the easiest piece of advice for everybody. Then let's create all of the rest of the routines around that. Is that a good nugget?
It's the framework for lead conversion. I know we're short on time, Patrick. Appreciate this. This is something that just establishes another layer to help the agent become better at what they're already doing. Hey, we know you're a coach. We know you're out there hustling. Let everybody know a little bit of how to get in touch with you or how to follow you. I know you've got a great YouTube channel.
Best way to follow me is, I love YouTube. And so please jump onto my YouTube channel, Coach Patrick Ferry. Right. You'll find a ton of resources there. I have 250 videos on there. That's a great place for everybody to kind of get started, to get a lot of value. Jump on my email newsletter. I talk about that on my YouTube channel. There's a simple link. I haven't even sent one out in 60 days. So you guys don't worry. You ain't going to get a bunch of solicitations from me. I only send something when I have something of really good value. And I built actually a really nice list of everything. Every piece of awesome content that I looked at, read, or studied in January, that's actually going to be the first thing I'm going to send this year. So jump on that, and then you'll get some great stuff from me. And then, I'm on Patrick Todd Ferry on Instagram, and you'll just see pictures of me with my kids and skateboarding and doing cool stuff, or Facebook. So, all right, Sean, thank you.
Patrick,
Appreciate you guys at Landvoice, and then we'll catch up with you guys soon.
Okay, we'll see you.